So why is AI adoption failing in some scenarios and why is it not failing in some scenarios? We see a report every day. Some says, hey, AI is not working. Some say AI is working. How do we understand the difference? Welcome to the Helix Loop. I'm your host, Sohit Anantala. I'm writing a newsletter, thehelixloop.com. You can see this video. It can become a podcast. I really talk about AI and strategy and AI and governance and AI and leadership. It's not just the technology. It's how do we take AI to the real world? And I'm talking to you about how do we build a co-intelligent organization. So today is all about really understanding how we kind of escape from this conversation of AI adoption and think beyond that. So in today's article, I wrote about two companies, Bank of New York and Walmart. This was reported in the Wall Street Journal about how they've been working on doing this. And it's a real paradox, right? For example, a lot of people talk about this and say, hey, it's not working. But if you look at the CIO, Lee Ann Russell from BNY, she's talking about deploying this 100 AI agents they've already done. And she talks about them as digital employees. And she says that they're making some really, really tangible benefits to their business line. And why is that? Because what they've done, and same with Walmart, is they've actually taken a lot of time to think through what does it mean to kind of work through and scale this conversation. So how do we do that? If you just start with Copilot, if you just started with some few agents, you're working on it, that's great. But how do you start thinking beyond that? And sometimes people go full tilt and the pilots, and then they're like, how do I grow? The other times people are like, oh, I can't imagine how to grow it to 100, so I'll never start. I think both are not useful conversations for us, right? So we need to kind of balance both of them. So what does it look like? I really like what BNY has done, and let's kind of expand on it, and you can read a lot more on the article anyway. But what BNY has done is basically said, hey, we've got this opportunity. How do we think through this? So for example, every AI agent, does it have its own AI credentials? Like, does it have like a digital employee credential? What are the communication protocols? Like, can it use Outlook? Can it use Teams? Can it use your Google Workspace? And what are the reporting requirements? Now think about this, right? You've got an AI agent, but who runs the agent? Who maintains the agent, right? And who's responsible for making sure the agent actually does what it's supposed to do? So that's the second angle that we have to work through. And finally, we need to realize what level does it come and who works with this. So as Russell says, it's actually very, very hard to build this agentic framework, not in the agentic framework as building the agent, but it's all the organizational context around the agent that becomes the challenge. And the other thing which I think that both of them are doing is Walmart and BNY in this context is that they're going not just for one AI. So not just doing OpenAI or Google or Claude. They're going through a range of things and they're building the internal platform. In BNY's case, it's called Eliza. And the whole idea is that they're not just stuck with any one provider. I think that's a very smart and mature move to make, right? To kind of go above the layer and think about this and saying, how do we ensure that this actually is not about getting stuck at the layer of just the AI LLM provider? Because that's an easy one, right? Hey, I like OpenAI, I use it. And actually, if you start thinking maturely, models can become specialized. Models can also become cheaper or expensive. And also, depending on your context, one model can be useful than the other. To make all of this work, what you really need to start doing is really exploring how would this work if you have all these different models. That's why actually designing a model agnostic framework can be extremely useful. So what else are they doing? One thing that I've seen, right, is that the gap between pilots and production and benefits is 12 to 18 months, sometimes more. And I think we need to wait and see how that happens. So this is what I'm seeing as real benefits, right? First of all, we need to start seeing this as an organizational design problem and not just a technology problem. Second, start with a few digital employees, right? Few agents, few chatbots, and see how they work, where they fit, how does your employees use them, what's happening. Have those governance conversations with yourself and say, how do you build that governance? And then as you go through, this is going to become a multi-agent orchestration challenge, right? So you as an employee, you as a leader, you will have agents. You will have staff who will have agents. Then you have to orchestrate your agents. You have to orchestrate your staff and agents. And you can start to see the challenge of this orchestration that comes through. So all of these are going to work together. And that's where we're going to start to see the opportunity and the challenge. And then finally, how do we start measuring learning, not just technology deployment? And then frankly believe that this is not going to be like a start and stop in 25, 26, 27. Like it's going to go on for a multi-year journey. And that's a very important thing. So to close out for today, I think it's really all about how do we kind of treat this as an organizational design challenge, and how do we start kind of working through this conversation beyond tech. So see you next time. This is Suhit Antala. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out my newsletter. It's all in the links. And yeah, engage with me. I love to hear how you're actually building this stuff in your own organizations. See ya.